I've always wanted a swimming pool, and especially now that I've got my young son and beautiful wife, it's been an obsession of mine to upgrade our dreary drab garden with a swimming pool for us all to enjoy with our friends in the summer months. But not only that, I want to make this swimming pool as cost effective and efficient as possible, but also to save money on the costs of the build. I need to do all of it on my own, learning lots of it from scratch. In this series of videos, you will follow us along the way through the highs and the lows, from the first scratch of the digger to when we hopefully enjoy the swimming pool with our friends. But also you'll be able to learn the processes, preparation and application of the methods I had to use to make a DIY fully heated swimming pool in my own garden. So let's go. In the previous video, I showed you my dream, the layout of what we were going to be doing in my garden, also the actual material where we're going to be building the walls out of, and the dig itself. So if you haven't seen that yet, please check it out before you watch this video. Anyway, let's get on with part 2, getting the base sorted out. Let's have a look, catch up on where we are now. It's been a bit of rain, it's a little bit chalky and muddy out here, but this is what we've got in front of us now. Let me go down into the pool and I'll describe to you what we're doing, okay? I think I might have scratched my shin up there. So there's going to be a pad going in here. We're going to lay some damp proof down under here over the top of that. So once we've got the damp proof membrane down, I've got a very thin layer actually of insulation going on top of that with high compressive strength. And then on top of that, we're then going to be putting our concrete base. To have our walls like these tie in nicely to our concrete base, we're going to have 8mm rebar coming up every sort of 30 centimeters all the way around here. And they've got to be in line with the cavity on the inside of this. So what I've got to do right now is square all this off, and I'm going to just use a drill just to sort of get those rebar bits down and drill into the chalk, but hopefully I won't almost die. Honestly, I just leant into the van, I leant on it. Viewer discretion advised at this point. I'm about to show you incredibly painful graze on my shin. For those of you who used to do BMX or watch a bit of Tony Hawk and do a bit of skateboarding back in the day, you'll know what I mean. Look at this. Oh man, that is like, right there, that's worse than childbirth. I told Emily that, and now she won't talk to me. I don't know what. It's not easy, mate, I tell you. Sooner or later, I am going to say the magic words. Put that camera down, Matt, I need some help. Is that Ted? They call him the Berserker after one of the major bosses in the game Quake 2. All the music done by Trent Reznor. 9 Inch Nails, quality. People are also going to say you shouldn't have those into the ground because then that means you've pierced the DPM. You know, I've got to get them in now. I can't start trying to balance them in there when we've got wet cement being poured in next week. Don't you love that sun coming out, Max?
It's awful.
So what am I trying to do here? I'm going to stake out our corners first, measuring in from each side wall roughly 6 inches so I know that they'll be inside the cavity of the ICF wall. They need to be the same width apart widthways and obviously the same length apart lengthways. So what am I actually doing here? In my lovely little drawing of the swimming pool, I'm going to tell you. We're measuring where our 4 corners are going to be. And once we know where they are, we're going to whack some stakes down into those corners. But that's not where they're going to stay. We're going to pull string line out between those. And the most important thing we can do at the moment is make sure that when we're putting the stakes in, we account for the width of the cavity of our ICF. So we measure out from the wall, roughly 6 to 10 inches on this one, drive our stake into the ground, and then if you look at this lovely little picture here, you'll see that our stake is sat directly in the middle of the ICF. But that's not all, folks. There's another big thing we've got to do when we're at this part of the job, which is what I call setting out. So we've got the same measurement across there and across here, and the same down there and the same down there. But you still don't know whether you've got a square or a rectangle, or if you're like this, you've got a trapezium, haven't you? So if we've got a trapezium, that means this angle is going to be shorter than that angle. So, you know, say we're like that, across that way is going to be shorter, across that way is going to be longer. So what you do, you measure the two until they're the same, and once your 2 diagonals are the same, and they're still the same distance apart, and they're still the same distance apart, you've then got a rectangle or a square, depending on what you're trying to measure. Now, we don't have to be exactly right with these actual stubs at the moment, but there or thereabouts would be nice. So let's just have a look and see what we've got. So I'm going to just do this to the inch, so 243, and if that's within about 3 or 4 inches of this other way, it would be almost square now, which meant my digging was correct when I squared this out for the dig. So 243, Max, that was said, isn't it? Don't give a damn, do you, mate? Oh my God, literally, it's within half of an inch. Let's start pecking some of these in. Thanks, don't you? Am I bleeding?
Yeah, quite bad.
Is it? All right, you said you were going to bang into that, didn't you, Max? And I said, no, I won't, 10 seconds ago, and then I did. Right, so you want to do one of these every sort of 30 centimetres, if you can. So 20mm EPS board, it's not really thick, guys, but it's better than nothing. Very, very high compressive strength. Right, so just getting the last little bit of this section of the 20mm insulation in, just because I want you to see exactly how we're doing this. Right, reinforcing going on. Right, reinforcing. So obviously very important to have this because we want this floor to be solid as a bloody well big old rock. We'll overlap them as well, so it all ties in with our base, but also with our walls when they come up. But one thing you've got to have is some spaces. So this just makes your life a bit easier when it comes to getting it spaced up. So you've got two sizes, 40mm and 50mm, because I'm going to be pouring probably 100mm to 150mm base. We're going to be sitting these at 50mm high. Nice little metal cable tie tool that I got off good old Amazon. Feeds just through there, tightening that up. Ain't going nowhere, and then cut it off like that. We're all good. And then England happened. It rained and it rained and it rained. But have no fear, because we got there in the end. And then suddenly, as it's British summer, suddenly it's sunny again, but only for a couple of days, which means I had a phone call from the cement company this morning saying we're going to come this afternoon. 2 days earlier than we'd organised, but it doesn't matter. To be fair, they just know I want to get this done and they're like trying to sort me out. The problem is that now after all this torrential rain we've had, the sides have collapsed on one side, it's full of water, so we've got to get in there with a wet vac as much of this water out as we can, clean everything up. Also, I haven't even got my pipes first fixed in yet, so I've got a lot to do all of a sudden. Good thing about these is that they've got a huge hose on them, but also to empty it, got a little hose around the back as well that you just unplug, and it's just easier to empty. But sometimes the British weather just does everything physically possible to ruin your life. Makes you question why the hell I'm putting a swimming pool in the first place. Right, let's see if we can get some clearing up done.
Let me take 48 seconds to tell you that you can learn plumbing online in a fully structured course and curriculum designed by me from the comfort of your home or shed in your own time to improve your basic plumbing skills and knowledge. From the basics of how to use basic plumbing tools, how to turn the water off, how to join and bend copper pipe and waste pipe, to a fun skills test where you'll make your own test rig, which trainees and apprentices do at MBQ level. There's even a section on the top 5 plumbing jobs that I'll teach you along the way. You can ask questions in the discussion panel next to each lesson, plus get access to the Plumbing Essentials community where you can post pictures of your work and talk about the course and learn from your peers. So if you're a young person looking to get into the industry, an apprentice who wants to brush up their skills, a DIYer interested in plumbing, or even a handyman looking to add plumbing to their services, then look no further than learnplumbingonline.com with yours truly from Plumber Parts. Anyway, back to the video.
So the eagle-eyed among you will notice that I filled in the little trenches that I had for our sump pipes because I realised that actually our sump pipes could safely and nicely be installed inside the base layer of concrete. I actually figured this out having spoken to a couple of other pool engineer installers, and they said that that would be fine as long as I adequately protected the plastic pipe from the concrete, which I do normally if I was putting pipes in a wall on a normal plumbing job. That meant that what I was going to have to do now was lift up all the reinforcing that I had and actually get all of that installed. And with the surprise time constraint and having the concrete company ring me up about half an hour earlier saying that they were going to be at my house in about 3.5 hours time, I was going to have to pull my finger out and perhaps even my thumb. For reasons of brevity, I will tell you how these particular fittings work later on. Right, now I'm going to go and check the levels. Sorry guys, I know you want amazing video here, but cement mix is turning up any minute and I am stressing. So I've got there and they're pretty much I mean, they're a little bit out at the moment, but with a little bit of wiggling around in a minute, they'll be ready. So now I've just got to get the rest of this reinforcing down and around it and over it, and also get some stuff onto that pipework just to make sure it's protected. Ah, but how did you know where to install your sumps when it comes to the height of the base, but also to the finished height of the pool where you want it to be? Well, it's easy. I used my Bosch laser level and sat that up at the height where I want my sumps to finish. How did I know that? Well, we already know where we want our finished pool height to be, so we have to measure back from a known point. For us, it's that top step that I said in the first video. We measure the depth of the patio stones that we're going to be putting in, then we account for about 20mm mortar, then the width of our brick, which I think was 100mm on this job, then another 20mm mortar, then the depths of our wall, the actual height that we want our pool to be, the pool water, which in this case was 1.4 meters. Then we've got our base depth. We measure across and then we allow 5mm for our sumps to stand proud. That will account for our underlay later on in the job when we're putting our liner in, which in this case was months later, but hopefully it gives you an idea as to how far forward you have to think. Every decision you make now will have a ripple effect with decisions that you make later on. Also at this point we put copper stubs around the whole of the base, flattened them off so they weren't sharp, and made them the exact height of the base all the way round. That meant that when the concrete lorry came along and they started pouring in all their concrete, I could shuffle that around with a rake and make sure that I've got the whole of the base as pretty much as level as I can get it. I used hundreds of those little tiny metal ties. I made sure that everything was clamped together, all the uprights and all the mesh as well. And then I had a load of extra mesh sheets as well. So I thought, why not? Let's just lay them on, get this as strong as possible. Get this, guys, as I was laying this down, the boys from the concrete company turned up. I was literally ready with seconds to spare. Get pumped by TGA. Getting pumped by TGA. That's swimming about here.
That's why it's wet.
And this is your beautiful creamy produce coming out right now. Pussy's here helping me out, and Pussy's dad Edwin is just running the show, aren't you, mate? So we're getting it in now, boys.
Anyway, get that camera down.
It was such a quick and full-on thing. I didn't really even get a chance to get the camera out to actually film them pumping everything in here. But I did in a later section of the job, which is going to be when we pour the ICF walls, which is a part of this video series you don't want to miss. Another thing that I didn't quite go over properly as well, as you can see, we've got our spirit level in the centre there. I obviously used that on the tops of our sumps, and we then just popped those little coverings over there just to stop any cement going in there when we were doing this pour. So there we go, guys, all done. I've got to say, that was absolutely knackering, and the old boys had a bit of trouble with their lines afterwards, and it's getting on for nearly 6 o'clock now and we're all done. Rain is forecast tonight at midnight, but we should be okay. This mix now, it's sort of in and everything. Even if we have like quite heavyish rain, it should be okay. Fine. It wasn't easy, I've got to say, and I don't know what I would have done without my mate Harry there and his dad as well, just sort of keeping my chin up, because I've got to say I was really stressing actually. We'll come back tomorrow morning and hopefully I'll be able to sort of stand on this, but with any luck the rain will hold off for as long as possible. I think I've earned myself a big cuddle with my baby boy Tedlet. In the next video, we finally get round to building the walls. Will I be able to brace them properly and get everything in so it doesn't all fall apart when we put a vast amount of incredibly heavy concrete in? Come back in the next video, or members of the channel can watch that video right now just by clicking on the join button below. Remember to like this video, subscribe and comment below how you think it's going.